So our next session, I'm sure everybody's getting ready for this. It's a great panel to talk about how to boost your revenue and how to innovate your monetization strategy, which is actually core to making money in this business. So we've got some great experts here, hosted by our wonderful own Charlie Scowen from Pocket Gamer, and we also have Archie Stonehill from Stash, Ezgi again, my favorite lady at the moment, who's expert who you should go and speak to after this, Katerina Maliaran from Burny Games, Anastasiya from Rovio, and Verma from Tipalti. So have we got everybody here? We seem to be missing...
Rick is just running a little late.
We're missing Rick, but he'll come and join us when he can. So I'm going to leave Charlie to press on because I've held us up too long.
Thank you, Jackie. Yeah, so Rick will join us momentarily. He's just running a little late. I think he's in a video interview, but we will start without him. So, hi everyone. My name is Charlie Scowen. I am the content coordinator for Pocket Gamer Connects. But this panel is not about me. It's about these wonderful folks here who are, boots on the ground, going through all these monetization strategies day to day. And it's no further. Oh, here we are. Hey, Rick. There we go.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. So, yeah, these guys know much more than me, but that's why I'm here. I'm here to learn from them, and I hope you are too. So first off, I would like to ask our wonderful panelists to introduce themselves, and I guess we'll start with Ezgi and then work our way this way.
Of course. Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, I was here a little bit before. So this is Ezgi. I work as individual consultant on product and monetization mainly, with gaming and also non-gaming, such as like dating, news, publishers, utility apps, productivity, and different verticals in gaming, mainly hybrid casual, but also mid-core to hyper-casual in the past quite a lot. So nice to be here.
Thank you. I'm Archie Stonehill. I'm the Chief Growth Officer at Stash. I lead a lot of our strategy and product direction, set our product roadmap, spend a lot of time with customers. We're a direct-to-consumer platform for game developers, building everything from game launches to web shops and link-out payment options for iOS and that kind of thing.
Hi, I'm Anastasiya. I'm lead product manager at Rovio. I'm part of the Bloom City match, a new match 3 puzzle. We just soft launched it 6 months ago. It's available in Spain. Download it, play it in Finland and UK as well. Before that, I was working in Scopely, Monopoly Go, and before that, I was in Product Madness and Game Love.
Hi everybody, I'm Katerina Maliaran, head of Monetization at Burny Games. It's a Ukrainian full-cycle mobile game dev, and according to independent rankings, we are top 1 employer now, and faster-growing companies game dev. Maybe you know our top titles: Play Doku and Colorable Sword. I'm proud to be part of this professional team, and with my experience for over 10 years in finance and monetization, it's great to be here and share my expertise with you.
Hi everyone, my name is Verma. I am a leader at a business called Tipalti in Europe. We're a finance automation platform, so I'm probably the only one here not directly from a gaming or monetization background. My expertise lie in infrastructure under it, so particularly finance infrastructure around payments.
Brilliant. So we'll start off with a very basic question to sort of introduce the context of the panel. Yeah, why do users spend in games? Simple as that. Go. Why do users spend in games?
Okay. Let's fight.
Okay, yeah.
I can start and you can add. Maybe we will, as I understand, we'll have what to say. From my perspective, user spending is fascinating because it's often correlates with engagement and that directly impact our revenue. And people spend in games, in fact, for deeply variety of deeply rooted reasons. Some of, in my opinion, there are like top 5. Powerful in progression. Like this is a driver not only in mobile applications when you want to unlock powerful features, when you want to progress faster, they are willing to spend to buy some items. Social battle passes is when you like spend to play with your friends. Also, I adore the type of people who spend a fortune, like because of aesthetic and personalization, because you, like these people adore skins, unique avatars, and this creates for them personal connection to the app. Like, I won't say a lot, maybe my friends will add something.
Yeah, I guess from the data, faster progression is definitely number 1. And coming with higher quality content than new content, and then new content is following like around number 3. I think visibility is very important aspect of it. Like if they see, they are willing to pay more. If they know that the collectibles are there, they are willing to pay more. If you don't show them, they need to find, then it's more of a challenge. But yeah, but I can add that.
Well, in a perfect world, the very well-designed offer system and monetization system will lead in a very organic and very natural state for the player to spend, because this is where they know that, okay, this is the win streak, I want to keep that. And that's okay, I can spend $2.99 for that and continue. So the whole experience, the whole progression is elevated and makes it much more just enjoyable and better engaged for the player.
Archie, Rick, do you want to add anything to that?
I can give you a non, I suppose, industry dopamine hit, like in short. Yeah.
I think everything's been covered. I mean, it depends on the game, but I think you got some great answers here.
Cool. So you guys are very much engrossed in the monetization spaces in your respective fields. What are you seeing right now that is most interesting in the monetization space? Like, what's new that you or other publishers or other areas are doing that's working right now and is particularly innovative?
I got an answer for that. I think the social casinoization, if you know what I mean, in the games is really, really outstanding at the moment. Like Royal Match is the best example. The way that their live ops is very much Coin Master inspired, and the way that they are right now working on mini games that is very much Monopoly inspired. We can see that where the main focus of progressing is not on the core, but on the live ops with all this FOMO effect. I think every game out there, especially in casual genre, tries to implement that. Like we can see Toon Blast coming back, tripling their KPIs by doing exactly that. Just implementing very, very smart, very good live ops and monetization offer systems that lead the players to spend and bringing the focus to that. That's one of the biggest, I think, innovations that we can see today.
Yeah, I would second that and say the social casinoization of games is a good way of putting it. And I would say another extension as well as the live ops is definitely the kind of expansion of loyalty in the games industry, and pretty much every genre now is developing some conception of game loyalty systems. And we can also talk about direct-to-consumer, but that's a big part of the direct-to-consumer trend and boost is a kind of combined focus on changing payment channels and increasing player loyalty.
In my opinion, from monetization perspective, I'm really interested in all developments around AI-driven optimization and AI predictive LTV and around personalization. It's very interesting to learn more and to see how AI going into our admon, moving us from simple admiration to to this AI powerful, and they are enough powerful, these algorithms, to provide us this data that we already have. In fact, we all have LTV predictions, but with AI, you can get this data earlier and make decisions per user in real time. So you can change ad formats, ad networks, segment this auditory, understand better and earlier who are these users. And this leads us to to maximizing our revenue streams. And for me, like all researchers according around this, for me it's like our very close future. So for me it's very interesting. And regarding personalization, it's interesting to see how people change their strategy to implementing ads. So like how rewarded ads, when you play in games, usually like now the more and more publishers gives you opportunity to feel that ads here as a part of natural user journey, that they provide you value, that the offer is clear, that it's one step rewarded ads might appear one step earlier than you just thought about using them. And that's great. As I understand, publishers are more into using collecting first-party data, using it and change their approach to this. And implementing all this smart segmentation, it's also as a Mon person, I'm just always checking all this news according to this, all the offers, and I know that publishers work with some companies or trying to do this in-house. So for me, it's interesting.
Maybe what I can add to the first part of the data, what I see the most is especially developers, publishers, let's say in this way, try to gain more control over their product nowadays, because we don't know how the algorithms work, right? It's confidential, internal, how those SDKs work are really black box. And what I see getting a control, what we discussed earlier today, direct to customer topics, maybe direct sales in ads are getting also hot because it's direct. So cutting those points and trying to gain more control over how you communicate with users, how you engage with users, and how you can make this more of yourself, that's getting more hot every day.
Rick, from your perspective, for some of the clients that you work with, what are you seeing from you'll be coming about it from the other side, so from an infrastructure perspective, what do you see?
I mean, I'll second and echo it's about that experience. That's what it ultimately comes down to, about that consumer experience. We're also kind of from an infrastructure perspective, different companies are deploying that AI and how they're looking at data using AI in different ways as well. So we're seeing some interesting shifts in how quickly things are moving there. And again, from my infrastructure perspective, it just it could be the best user experience, it could be the best monetization strategy in the world, but if people aren't getting paid, it starts to kind of fall apart.
So we've talked about what's hot, and you mentioned especially with AI and everything that is moving at a rapid pace, and I think the games industry in general is always moving at a rapid pace. So this segues very nicely into my next question. What's not hot right now? And I'm not talking, the Barcelona weather is very hot right now. So think of the opposite. So let's talk about Finland weather, for example. What's not hot right now in the monetization landscape? What doesn't work anymore that has worked over the past few years? Or even beyond the last few years, sorry.
Well, subscriptions are not as hot. Already had a talk about that. We do see, for example, if we talk about the Pokemon, the PCG game, I believe it's PCG or the cards one, I'm playing it. They do have their Battle Pass as subscription, but it's not a rule, it's an exception. So that's one of the things. I have to say, and I apologize to everyone here, but ads are not so popular right now. All this Royal Match, no ads, you can play offline, that kind of things. So yeah, that's two main things coming to my mind. Anybody wants to add anything?
Maybe to add the skip its that were a thing that worked for some games, but not for majority. That's not kind of hot anymore.
Okay, everyone hates ads. but I can say that you didn't see good ads. Like, in my opinion, what's not hot? We can mention, for me, it's bombarding people with interstitials are definitely not hot. Let's say yes to this, that it shouldn't exist. This, like, every 30 seconds, 60 seconds interstitial just interrupting your gameplay. People became less tolerant to this. It only affects your churn rates. It decrease user satisfaction. You understand that you got tons of negative reviews. It's definitely not hot. You should move to implementing ads more wisely, more precise. So another not hot strategy is, in my opinion, banners. I need to admit I have them still. But let's admit that we have more problems than revenue from them. Like, I truly believe that people are blind to banners. And very often you see that it's very poorly integrated. And often misclicks, auto redirects, very low eCPM. So we start to play with volume to compensate our revenue. We start to refresh even harder, more quickly. It's complete mess. Like, it's occupancy of screen space. Not sure that we will go from them very quickly, because still we need to compensate that share of voice that they bring us to in our revenue, but definitely not in love with that. And the last one is waterfall networks. Sorry guys, but relying on historical eCPM and building your structure of your ad units using networks that still work in waterfall, it's from something from ancient times. They can't, we all moved to real bidding. 2 years ago, we all said that we are scared, it can't be. We won't survive, but here we are. Real bidding is really working, and you can't rely now on waterfalls.
Web3, I'd say, is not super hot. Said it had to have worked at some point, so.
Oof. So, Rick, do you have anything to add on that, or have everyone covered everything for you? I guess they've covered pretty much everything. So, one very, very quick question, which will then lead into another bigger question. Are you a fan of hybrid monetization strategies?
Yes, but a smart one. It needs to be segmented. If by day 60, your player is not converting, maybe you can start showing ads. And maybe you can start showing ads in a way that it's not intrusive. It's maybe even be optional. You can turn it on and off in the settings. The game needs to make money, and if it's one of the ways to make money, then yes. But saying that, I also want to emphasize that today, and I'm sorry, and we'll be touching on your next question, but today we are entering in this new territory that we don't know, like what's happening with all this epic ruling. So the way that ads are can also change, because,
Oh, don't worry, we'll be touching on that in a moment.
Okay.
But we'll be touching on that in a moment.
But yes, yeah. Hybrid models, smart hybrid models are beneficial for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would echo that. And I think in particular, the most successful, probably the most interesting stuff I've seen from hybrid, if you think about it, there's two directions. There's coming more from ad space into IAP. That's like the homers and the hyper casual guys. I think I've been most interested, though, in some of the more mid-core, core casino titles that have been adding ad monetization. And I think post-IDFA deprecation, finding ways to monetize every segment of your user base was essential, because once you lost the ability to personalize advertising, personalize the user experience kind of at the acquisition layer, I think the most successful games that sprung up around that found ways to monetize every segment of users they got. So if you look at a lot of those casino titles in particular, 5-10 years ago, you would have never imagined some of these casino titles with ads. And I would say now it's almost a default for a lot of them to include some really premium ad format, like rewarded video.
I think it's inevitable. If you don't think that hybrid is not kind of working for you, in my opinion, you're either averaging your users or players, or you are just don't care about very significant of user base who will never pay, or a small percentage who will pay with significant amount at least. But I think it's definitely inevitable. Like segmentation and personalization is very, very important for making the most. And if we ask, for instance, to the audience, like if you say, okay, everyone is wearing like 40 in terms of like the shoe size, majority of us will be unhappy here, but like 40 is the average here, maybe. So it just doesn't make sense, in my opinion. So it's kind of must.
Again, agreed. And what we see in the market is very much that people have to have a level of diversification, and you cannot just rely on one model. So yeah, seconded.
Yep, did you want to go?
As a conclusion, as we understand, hybrid monetization is a golden standard. Because I wish all people will make enough purchases, but they won't. In fact, the vast majority won't pay. And we still will have non-pairs and pairs, and we need to rely not solely on one revenue stream. So we are obliged to maintain hybrid to maximize our revenue over all user base.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
To this, I just want to add that the other day I saw that one of these casual games, very much Royal Match inspired, had an ad for the Battle Pass, where you get the free reward, and if you want to get that reward again, you can watch an ad. That was very interesting, innovative way of asking to watch more ads, which I think that yes, that field needs more innovation, to make sure that players are watching ads. I think there is a territory that needs more focus for sure.
Cool. So we're all here for hybrid monetization. So how do you actually implement those strategies? We touched on a little bit, but for the developers in the room that are looking to monetize their games, how do you actually effectively implement hybrid monetization models?
I have a mic, I will continue. Segmentation. I think it all starts with segmentation. As I said, you collect your data, you see who is monetizing, who is not, and you start implementing ads. Not in a very aggressive way. Fortunately or not, the way that right now the market is that ads are not cool, and premium experience is great. But some players who cannot afford or don't want to play, they can watch ads in order to do that. So, yes, segmentation, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And maybe making it optional, as I mentioned before. Mm-hmm.
I think to your point, some can afford, some will never pay. Some maybe will paid in another app before and not yours. Maybe some paid in another game of yours before, or some paid already in the game. Maybe starting from kind of segmentation of 5 layers can work. But I think easier if it's IAP focused game and you want to integrate ads. I think that's an easier path than integrating IAP to the ad focused game. But overall, data experimenting regular.
Okay.
I can add a bit, add in Ezgi, because it's really not the same to create hybrid when you already have in apps, or to create a hybrid when you was purely ad monetization, you had only this experience. And for us, it was a really big fight and lots of troubles, because we scaled and grow only on ads. It's classic casual, they have long retention, but still these are non-pairs auditors. So for us and for everyone who will step in this field, the challenge will be that you need to integrate so smartly. So these people you teach them that they can buy. You teach them using, you need to pause your appetites. You need to decrease quantity of ads. decrease using cooldowns, balancing, segmenting a lot. And then when they feel that they feel control, they use these ads they understand that they can have premium experience. And then maybe for them it's easier to make this first in-app. So it's really hard topic, implementation of hybrid, and it depends on what type of revenue streams you choose.
So my next question, and we're going to talk about it, and I'm very sorry. You guys don't have to answer this either if you're not comfortable asking, but we've touched on it a moment ago. With the regulation landscape changing all the time in the US and in the EU, Digital Markets Act, anyone? Which most recently have now allowed games to link out to stores with a much lower cut of revenue. My question is, does this drive monetization methods that simply weren't profitable or possible before?
Go for it.
I will talk from the game perspective.
Yeah.
Thanks. Obvious, of course, web shops. And even Supercell already doing it with Clash Royale, it shows you very good deal and say, go to the shop.
Well, even Rovio have Reds Club, don't they, as well? So
yes.
Yeah, there you go. A little plug in then.
It's been a couple of years now.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
But yes, absolutely. But the thing is that we don't know. The way that free-to-play was created is with iPhone, 2007. At first, actually, it was premium, and then, again, Angry Birds. We introduced, some extensions and stuff, and 0.99s, and that's how free-to-play was born. So today, in 2025, we've never been in a territory where 30% is not a must. So I think we are just many innovative things gonna happen, and we've been seeing from a couple of presentations already, which were really interesting. But the obvious answer, of course, is just to take players away from the app on the App Store, and make sure that their player experience is great. The problem is that the trust. Today, we all trust App Store. Some one way or another, we do. We know what that is. We know what to expect. So at some point, and I will be bold enough to say, I think App Store will do something. They will reduce this 30% because there's a lot of money going on there. Mm-hmm. So I would love to predict something very interesting and innovative, but I can't. But something will change for sure. And on top of it, I just want to add that ads can also be a different perspective, meaning that now that the margin is so low for the revenue, it's not 30% anymore, maybe it will be 5 or something. We as games, we want to push players to actually pay some money to the in-apps, not to spend it on ads, so it goes to somebody else's pockets. So that's why maybe price points will change, many things. So yeah, I'm really curious to see.
Cool, yeah. I don't know why everyone groaned when you brought up regulations. I'm like, what's wrong with them? So yes, I think that
I saw you jump in your seat as I started to ask the question.
That's why I'm here. I love this topic, for anyone who doesn't know. So the big change that's just happened is you can think of there being a matrix. There's which platform, Android or iOS, and then there's which geography. And so, there's movement happening across the board. The most recent development that made the headlines was that iOS in the US is now got rid of its anti-steering provisions, which are these provisions that prevent you from informing or directing players about or to an alternative way to purchase. So now in iOS in the US, you're allowed to link out. I think this is almost certainly the new standard for what global policy is going to be. The EU announced a week ago that they were basically giving Apple 30 days to comply with their policies, which also fined Apple $500 million in April for violations of their anti-steering compliance rules. And then, so I think in the EU and the US, and then also South Korea, Japan, a bunch of other geographies, this will be the new default. For Android, things are also in motion. In theory, the standing ruling in Android in the US is even more radical. So all of this is great news, and I think it's very much here to stay. in terms of what this now enables, if it enables anything, I think it will just make the user flow for direct-to-consumer easier. I think it will never be as easy as IAP, and so I think about the purchase experience being a function of experience versus convenience. And so, how do you motivate players to go direct to consumer? We've done a lot to make it more worth their while with rewards and loyalty. This now makes it a lot easier to lower that friction. So I think that'll be good for everyone. I think the biggest thing I'm watching for is whether this causes some of the more casual games that have yet to really move into direct to consumer to move, specifically the match genres. Among none of them really, the main match guys, have you seen much of an uplift in much of an uptake of direct to consumer? So the thing that's different about what's now possible in Link Out in the US is a lot of those purchases are very impulse based. They're very integrated into the flow of gameplay. You finish a level, you have an immediate need you need to satisfy, and that's been tough for web stores because you end the session, you go to a web store. Whereas Link Out now allows you to complete that purchase without ending the session. So one of our products does this. It opens a web view window that doesn't even leave the game environment. You don't change apps. Like, that's a very, very different and I think exciting flow for the games that really require immediate low friction conversion. Right, that was a lot, so I'll stop.
Rick, can I just come to you really quickly? What are you seeing, like with all the regulation changes? Is there stuff that Tipalti is seeing, and maybe like stuff that your clients are sort of talking about
what's
as well?
fascinating here is the industry overlap, right? So welcome to being regulated and being heavily regulated. I work in finance, banking, and payments. It's pretty much what we live with day in, day out. Countries have different laws, regulations, and our response usually, and again, this isn't a direct gaming example, but our response usually tends to be either commercial to those regulations, so like your point around a reduction in that 30%, so we can have a commercial response to those things, or if we have to retain margins and not let it be a loss leader, we look at value proposition strategies in how to make our product work around the regulations in effect.
Little bit of from the angle of I guess it strengthens our hands for maybe from the ads perspective to control more over the ad content. We can block more. Maybe we can limit the ads more, considering the revenue impact of it. But it's definitely affecting the retention and engagement metrics, right? Having 90 seconds of rewarded ad or 30 seconds of interstitial that you can pass. Maybe it will strengthen our hands to be more, clear about our expectations as the industry and a little bit have flexibility over reducing the revenue there and gathering some from that aspect.
Brilliant. So we're coming towards the end of the panel, and while I do have a couple more questions, I do want to open up the floor to our audience. Does anyone in the audience have any questions as we wrap up? Or you'll put up your hand and then we'll come to the mic with you. No? You being shy? Or are you just waiting for a drink?
They're waiting for a drink.
I think they're waiting for a drink, aren't they?
I'll quickly, if it's right.
One
more piece, right? It's just, again, around the industry value chain, right? So when you see compression around regulation in one part of your business, it's somebody else in the supply chain that's going to have to make up for it as well. So that's just another major thing that we see. So when it's affecting you, it's going to start affecting the entire value chain of your, including payments businesses and such.
Cool. One last chance, guys. I will start to pick on people. I will pick on Jackie. Oh yeah, okay. Everyone wants beer, so okay. I'll tell you what. We'll wrap up the panel. We could be talking about this for absolute hours, but unfortunately, people want the beer. So can I give a round of applause to our wonderful panelists, please? And before I give the mic back to Jackie, I do just want to mention that we do have a happy hour that is starting in about 5 minutes. There's also track room 2, which is still going on with Show Me the Money, the Show Me the Money track, which is about investment. We have, for all of our speakers and VIPs, we have a speaker VIP reception. And from 7 p.m., we have a party that is taking place in the center of town. So you'll see some flyers around and all that sort of stuff. So please do pick up that information and you'll see where the venue is. And then we look forward forward to welcoming you there. So now I'll hand back to Jackie. I turned into a bit of a rap god then, I do apologize, but here you go, here's Jackie. See you later.